Okay, I have to show you guys how to make this ring because it's such a nice little ring and it's so easy. You're going to want any kind of flat, round bead. Bead meaning it's drilled through. You want it to be drilled all the way straight through, not drilled on one end, but drilled straight through. And these are about 12 millimeter by 16 millimeter, 12 wide, 16 long. But you can get smaller ones. I've done these with little teeny tiny round discs. You can do bigger ones, but you'll see. And you could use 20 gauge. I'm going to use 18 because it's a little tougher, and these holes can actually take 18, barely. But whether it's 20 or 18, you want to take your wire, and silver if you can, looks just so good. And really, you only need, to be on the safe side, let's say 14 inches. So you need about 29 centimeters. About that, and we're going to cut it. It's probably too much, but I don't want to stop time to figure out the exact length. I'm just going to go with this. So which of these do you guys like best? Let's see, how does that look? Oh, wow, look at that. Look at that blue on there. Let's flip them over and look. Whoa, I'm liking that one now. That one's okay. That one's okay. That one's a little too dark on that side. That one's good. I like one of these two. I think I'm going to do this one. It's got the blue and the pink and the purple and everything. These are some kind of composite Jasper, someone told me. But anyway, it just barely fits the 18 gauge. Look at that. Oh, this one might, it barely fits it. I was going to grab a different one if it wasn't going to go through. So you would normally take it to the middle of the wire. I'm going to say take it to the very middle of the wire and then move over about 2 centimeters or 1 inch. Because you want a little more room on this side. So we're going to go crimp, crimp, and now this is the most important part. You want to do this smoothly. You want to make this S-curve. And so what you're doing is you're going to come around like this, and you're going to overshoot every part of the S-curve. Press it against the stone and bend it, bend it, bend it. Try not to get a sharp corner. Try to make the whole thing. The way to make it transition smooth, even if it's hardwire, because hardwire will give you corners and they won't give you smooth curves as easily. But you want to grab it from very far out. If you try to grab it too close in, you're going to get these sharp corners. So grab it from very far out and try to make your curve like that, okay? Now see, I overshot it like that. Now I'm going to press right here, and I'm going to come around the other way like this, and again, that's looking good, but I want to overshoot it. So I want to bend this even more before I do the next part, and bend this even more that way. And you really got to do like dozens of these before you get the S-curve just right. So if your S-curve comes out a little weird, then, don't worry the first couple times. But now I'm going to overshoot this one. So it's too much, right? And then by overshooting it twice, now I'm going to tuck it under, and I'm going to tuck it under this one like that, and see how the S-curve came just by overshooting it that way and then overshooting it that way. Once I pulled it tight, it came out pretty even. And so these two are folded over and they're coming down at a right angle. You want to pull them together like that. That's going to be the ring part of the ring. Get your mandrel. Get your magic marker, your fat highlighter if you don't have mandrel. Look how pretty that color is. Ugh. It's like almost like unbearable. Unbearable beauty. Oh, yeah, the camera's like, I'll show you. I'll unfocus. There we go. Oh. Yes. Let's see. What should we do? Let's do a 7. Okay, so we're coming around. And we're trying to hold it straight, but it's going to keep moving. We want to press it firmly around. So we leave it at this end, we come back at this end. So it's got like a real cool diagonal in there. Now we're holding it tight, pressing it tight against the ring mandrel, because we're going to pull a circle around it. If you don't pull it tight, it's going to slide under and you won't get your good circle, or oval rather. Okay, so I'm pressing the stone tight against the ring mandrel, and I'm taking these two ends and I'm wrapping them around underneath against the mandrel. And you're going to get a sharp corner right there. That's okay. But just keep coming around. And ooh, I just gave myself enough wire. Tiny bit to cut off, but very little, which means I cut it pretty close. Okay, see that? Press it some more. Bring it a little bit further around like that. Maybe a tiny bit more. And we're good, okay? Now look underneath. What does it look like? It looks weird. This oval looks like it's set on an angle from the oval of the stone. Like this oval is going this way and this oval is going that way, but that's okay. We're not going to worry about that. We're going to cut, leave about a little more than 1/2 centimeter, or like about 1/3 of an inch. Careful you don't shoot yourself with these sharp ends. If it's coming anywhere near your face, you should have glasses or close your eyes or something. Okay, now one at a time, we're going to hold this right on the end and tuck it into a circle. Tuck it into a circle so it goes right pressed up against the wire there. We don't want it to pop out the top or anywhere else. We want it tucked so it's not going to ever scratch anyone. Do the same thing with this one. Just tuck it. After you get it in there, pinch it tight. Reposition if it's popping out. Make sure there's no scratch anywhere. Make sure you can't see it coming out the other side, okay? Now, try not to, that's a little bit further out than I'd like, but I mean, I'm getting really picky here. This is really fine. But let me see. All right, I have it's stretched to an 8 now. That's okay. If you can, see if you can pinch it a little tighter. These pliers don't even open up far enough to pinch this guy, but I'm going to see if I can figure out a way to do this. I'll zoom out a little so you can see. But it's like, just get those a little bit tighter. Again, this is really being picky. You don't have to go this far, but it's not moving much, but that's fine. Okay. This is pretty much, this is good. I mean, you can end it right now as a beautiful ring, and it has this funky shape where you can actually hold it and twist it, and it'll get bigger or smaller. It can go up to a 9, down to a 7, you know. So that's kind of cool. You can put it right on the ring mandrel, and you can actually twist it and change the size of it. You could push it further down, open it up. Then when the person's trying it on at the show, you can change the size to fit them. It's really cool. Don't go bending it back and forth all day long. Obviously, it'll start to weaken it. But there is one part right here where this could lift up a little bit. That's a little bit like flimsy in there. What I used to do is put a whole bunch of E6000 in there, but I don't like to do that anymore because that stuff starts to, as with a lot of wear and tear, it starts to flake off, you know, a little bit. And also it's not good to get that on your hands or breathe it too much. So now I take a tiny bit of 26 gauge, really thin gauge. You can use 28, you can use 24, but a very thin gauge that you use just for holding pieces together. And I take a very tiny amount, like 6 inches. And I find, where's the end where it's wiggling a little bit, where it could potentially pop up in the air. Put it through my SCurve right on the end that could possibly pop up more. And I bring it to the middle of this little tiny piece of wire. I, bring the two ends together, cross them. It's playing around with me. I'm still not an expert at dealing with this very thin wire. Okay, so cross the two ends and then twist. Give it just like a couple twists. And then pull together, get the two ends together really smooth, right? So there we go. See that? Okay, now you don't need this much. This is actually too much. can actually cut a lot less. But I like to have a little extra because I'm, again, not good at dealing with this very, very thin wire. So I'm going to cut it right about there to get the two ends really tight together. And I'm just going to wrap them right through here, right through those two loops. I'm just going to take this and thread it right through. Make sure they both come up together. Sometimes one comes up and leaves the other behind, and then they're all messed up. So just get them both coming up together. See, there we go. Make sure you got them both. You can use the pliers to grab them, but make sure you grab them both. And holding everything still, I'm going to pull tight. And now we'll get the pliers and make sure you really get both ends and pull really tight, like almost till you feel like you're going to break the wire. You shouldn't break the wire. Wire breaks when it kinks, when there's a weak spot. Just pulling it straight, even very thin wire, this stuff is pretty strong. So, and now we're just going to wrap it through there like 2 or 3 times. And then when we're left over with the ends, we're going to roll up the ends into tiny little coils, just shove them in there somewhere, and we're done. And that's where you could put a dab of E6000 to just hold those coils in place. But technically, you don't have to. So I'm just going to put this through again. And I'm going to pause it because you don't need to see this. You're probably better at this than I am. There we go. Got it through again. And just like when you're threading, make sure each time it comes around, it's nice and clean, that the loops will line up next to each other. Grab it, pull tight. I like to go around about 3 times just to be on the safe side. But this one, I think this was enough because I think I'm pretty much at the end here where I'm comfortable just rolling these into coils and tucking them in. So start out with, make a little loop, pinch it. When you pinch it, it might slip a couple times till you get really good at it. Still slips for me if I'm going quick and not trying. And then you turn it sideways and you roll it. And you roll it. So cute. Just little teeny tiny rolls. You're just rolling it, rolling it. Just make it a little swirl, little baby swirl. You roll it, you roll the little baby. You roll it in the baby powder. You just roll them up and you roll them till you have like a little bit left there, and then you pull them around like that and you find one of these wires in here and you shove them in there. Shove them deep in there where he'll never come out and never bother anybody. There we go. And then you do the next one, and that's it. Grab the little coil. Grab the little coil. Find a place where you can unravel him if you need to get him longer again, and then shove him in there, and he's gone. He's gone. Check, make sure everything's in place. You can still adjust and pinch it and reposition, but it's pretty much looking good. It's looking good. It's a party ring. It's a party ring. They're so pretty. I don't dare lost my mind. They're so pretty. Here's the one we did just now.